Devils with the victory tonight, 3-1 over the Florida Panthers. You know, for all the success Florida has had over the years, winning 2 straight Stanley Cups, and before that going to the Stanley Cup final. These guys have played a lot of games. Devils have done well against them. Coming into tonight's game, they were 5-5-2 in their last 12 games against Florida, and that includes the big 2 wins last year on the road. You remember when they just really had their way with Florida in games that were consecutive, not back-to-back Tuesday and Thursday. At any rate, for all that Florida has done, the Devils have fared pretty well against them.
Well, especially tonight. I mean, this was a must-win for the Devils. Barkov and Tkachuk out of the lineup. I watched them last night in Detroit. They just didn't have a big offensive push. They didn't have it. They got the first goal tonight, which said, oh, okay. And they played hard, Matty. I am not downplaying the effort they put in defensively, and Tarasov, the goalie, was as good as any goalie we've seen this year. So it wasn't easy for the Devils, but Florida tonight is a team that they should have beaten, and they did.
Tarasov probably deserved a better fate under other circumstances.
Yes.
He was that good. But,
yeah.
You know, Jake Allen was strong the other way, and for both sides there were some anxious moments that could have changed the direction of the game. Devils actually getting a fortuitous bounce on the go-ahead goal from Timo Meier. We'll get to that in just a moment. But, you know, you make your own breaks, and a great play by Dawson Mercer setting up the third goal as the Devils score the final 3 goals of this game and win 3-1.
Well, just what you described, Matty, are second efforts. A tip. Dawson Mercer diving to poke the puck to Hischier, who makes a great finish. I mean, second effort in hockey comes into play quite often, and I don't want it overlooked, because those are huge plays, and we saw some examples of that tonight.
So with 3 consecutive wins, the Devils will try for that elusive 4th straight victory, and they haven't been able to do that since they won 5 in a row from January 7th of 2023
wow.
To the 16th of 2023. Yes. So 5 straight. That was the year they went to the playoffs, wound up beating the Rangers, losing to Carolina. And then since then, they've been close, but not been able to get that 4th straight win. So in a year in which the Devils are trying to say, we're here, right? This is it. A great challenge Saturday and an opportunity to finally say, we're not that team of last year or the year before. We got a new thing going.
Well, you know, any real good team, you got to put 6-7 wins together. And we kept looking for it. And last year it didn't happen. But this team is definitely capable. I said they got a good goaltending. Jake Allen, he's a great backup, and now he's the starter for the Devils. Their defense, rock solid, 6 guys. Their forwards, they can score. They got the power plays. They got a really good penalty killing, Matty. Where are the holes? So they should put together 6-7 wins this year.
6 times last year, they won 3 in a row.
I know.
Couldn't get to 4.
I know.
Well, let's see. Plus, It'll be a home game, and we talked about trying to get the home ice advantage and how important that is, and trying to establish this place and this team as hard to play in and against, and we'll see what happens on Saturday. While we wait our guests, plural, because we will have reaction from the dressing room, plus a live guest outside the room, let's look at some stats from tonight's game. Florida, 0 for 5 on the power play tonight. They had come in pretty good on the power play, 6 for 19.
Yeah.
But now 6 for 24, as the Devils got a power play goal, 1 for, I think 6 is how they ended with that extra one at the end. No, 1 for 5. So 1 for 5 on the power play. And the PK continues to be a strength from a Devils standpoint. They've only allowed the 1 power play goal, and they were down 5 times.
Manny, that's what I say to you. What is the Devils' weakness this year? Nothing glaring. Not their power play, not their penalty killing, not their goaltending, defense, forwards. Are they ready to make that run like we're hoping, 3-4 rounds, get to the finals? I don't know. We'll have to wait to see down the stretch here. They would like to fill a couple of holes, but that takes time. But no, this team is very solid where it's hard to pick them apart. You got to really nitpick to say the Devils are weak in a certain area.
34 shots they've listed the Devils as having, we mentioned earlier, 8 for Jack Hughes, 6 for Timo Meier, 4 for Dougie Hamilton, who continues to play a solid game. He's active. He's obvious. He's playing to his strengths. All those good things you want to see from Dougie.
Well, 2 guys that need to bounce up, and they know it. Dougie Hamilton, he's done that. Dawson Mercer, he's done that. Those guys aren't stupid. They read. They know. They can identify and break down where they need to improve. And I'm really happy for those 2 guys. But Dougie Hamilton, my goodness, he's taking the body and he's blasting the puck when he's out there on the power play, moving it up the ice. I mean, what I like, Matty, there's been no glaring mistake. And Simon Nemec, oh my, what a change in him. So everything is looking up for these New Jersey Devils if you break it down. But let's put it in perspective. It's only 4 games. Mm-hmm. So far, so good, though.
Dougie Hamilton led all skaters with 21:58 of ice time. Jack Hughes had 21:38 of ice time. He was going. As we mentioned during the game, when he's going, it's obvious, and the confidence is there. And, of course, he had the power play goal as well. From a Florida standpoint, they were led by a trio of players with 4 shots on goal: Brad Marchand, Mackie Samoskevich, and Evan Rodriguez. And Rodriguez and Marchand, early on, we talked about them a lot. Back-to-back, they're a little older, not as effective as the game wore on.
Well, even if it wasn't back-to-back, Matty, you can't expect those just 2 guys to carry this team.
True.
And they were the top-end guys. No Markov, no Kachuk, and that permeates. You know what you have in terms of power, and the Florida Panthers know they don't have the scoring power that they had the last couple of years, and they won't have for a while. So they try to play defense, and that kept them in the game for a while.
While we await a guest, let's check out some highlights from tonight's game, and it was Evan Rodriguez and company that started off early for the Devils as the puck took a fortuitous bounce. They took advantage of it, and on this goal by Rodriguez, it was 1-0. Brad Marchand, acquired from Boston last year late in the season, wins a Stanley Cup. Now it's Seth Jones. Fires it up ahead for Marchand. It's a 2-on-1. Marchand across the line. Cuts to his left. The shot save. Rebound is loose. Poked away by Jake. It's free. They score.
Bummer.
Devils got caught. Evan Rodriguez makes it 1-0. And they did get caught often in the early going. There were odd man rushes. There were guys open in the center of the ice. Between Allen making some saves and the Devils recovering and maybe some errant play by Florida, it wasn't as bad as it could be. But it was 1-0 with that goal coming early at 1:59.
Oh, yeah, that's why analytics tell you part of the story. But it's who's getting those opportunities. And the Panthers are thin on the finish. But on that play, Jake Allen, great first save. Then it goes back. Marchand drives the net like he does. He gets a whack at another one, hits the right pad of Jake Allen, goes right over to Rodriguez, and he's got half the net, and he buries it.
Brad Marchand, Seth Jones with the assist, Florida with the lead, and that was their only goal as it would turn out. The Devils outshot Florida 12-6 in the first period, and Daniil Tarasov was brilliant in goal, though he suffered the loss. He's now 0-2-0 on the season, but saves like this were something that he can hang his hat on. Here's Marchand with the puck. It's poked away by Jack Hughes. Marchand slows him down. It's a delayed penalty, but it's a 2-on-1. Jack cuts to his left shot off the glove of Tarasov, and we have the interference call coming up, and the Devils will have a 4-on-3 advantage late. And that was late in the first period, but the Devils weren't able to score. But Tarasov didn't make that save cleanly, but he got enough. That's all they ask you to do. Keep the puck out of the back of the net.
And there were a lot of those kinds of saves, but he was scrambling. He lost a stick for half a shift and made some brilliant saves without a stick. I mean, he would have been the first star. Maybe overall, but certainly for the Florida Panthers, he was first star.
And so it remained 1-0 after one into the second. We would go. Devils starting to assert themselves. As I mentioned, they outshot Florida 12-6 in the first. They had 13 more shots in the second, but that big goalie from Russia did things like this. Here's Glendening in front, backhand shot save made by Tarasov. Got the blocker on it. He deflects another one. And then later on, it was Paul Cotter who was turned back.
Here we go.
Paul Cotter pokes the puck free. He moves in. Shot save made by Tarasov, and he'll glove the rebound. And so you were wondering when, if, how the Devils would score that first goal.
We were, and you could tell I was a fan tonight. I apologize. I'm screaming over the play, but the Devils had some great opportunities, and it paid off in the end.
Well, at 5:04, Rodriguez was called for a trip. The Devils, who were 0 for 3 on the power play in the first period, get to go to work with the man advantage. And before it was even a minute old, the Devils had gotten on the board. Jack in the far circle. Gets it to Pratt, cross ice. Luke Hughes' his shot. That's blocked by Forsling. That was done on purpose. Here comes Jesper out high. Now for Jack in the far circle. Rising shot, scores! He goes over the right shoulder of Tarasov. It's a power play goal, and the Devils have tied it at 1. And so Jack Hughes with his first of the season. Jesper Bratt picks up the primary assist, his 300th assist of his career. He's 10th all-time in Devils history. Timo Meier continues his hot start with the secondary assist. The Devils tie it up at 5:48. Jack Hughes almost made it a 2-1 game late in the period. Here's Luke Hughes, his shot deflected away by Ekblad. He gets it back at the blue line, makes a move down the center of the ice, gives it off to his brother who's robbed. Oh, Tarasov with a glove save as he moves right to left. Wow. What a save that was. That kept the game 1-1. Downstairs we go. Luke Hughes joins us outside the Devils dressing room. Luke, Matt, and Chico upstairs, thanks very much for your time. When you see that play and you see a man as open as your brother was, are you thinking it's in the back of the net?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. Can you please repeat that?
Yeah, sure, no problem. You had that beautiful pass. Your brother is robbed by Tarasov. Yeah. You had to think it was going to be a 2-1 game.
Yeah, I mean, you give a good player a pass. I mean, the guy made a great save. So, that's hockey, and you just keep on going and keep pushing. So.
Well, that's what you do, right? That's what you're doing, Luke. I love the way you're playing. But, Luke, it's got to be fun on the power play. And if you could just talk about it, because there's a bunch of options that present itself, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's 5 really, really highly skilled people. And, it's really fun to play with those guys and be out there and, distribute the puck into their hands and, watch them work. So, it's really fun when I'm out there with those guys. And, hopefully we can keep having success and keep growing as a unit and just keep going.
And that's the internal competition. I mean, yeah, you want to be out there, and yeah, Dougie Hamilton has had some time in the first power play, and it's a good problem to have, so to speak. The Devils have what a lot of teams would love to have. That's 2 guys who can run the power play, and 2 different guys. You're from the left side, Dougie's from the right side. He's got the heavy shot from the blue line. You can get the puck through for tips, things like that, be more mobile than Dougie. What does that advantage of 2 guys who at any one time can be powerful back there do?
Yeah, I mean, Dougie's a really good player, and he's been really good for a long time, and he's got different skill traits than me, and like you said, he's got a really good shot, and it depends on each who we're playing against and what the team needs, but I think when I'm out there, I'm going to try to do the job, and same when he's out there. So, it's really lucky that we have a lot of really skilled players. Mercer jumping on that unit, and a lot of guys that can come in and out, and depending on the kill we're playing. So we'll see how it goes.
Well, Luke, the first game or 2, we could make excuses for you because you didn't have training camp. But now 4 games in, do you feel you're up to speed?
Yeah, I think I've trained really hard in the summer. My team has pushed me, and I had my own little training camp. Really hard skates. Obviously it's different because you're not playing against people, but I feel like my body and my conditioning was in a really good place when I signed, and I think you could see that through the first 4 games so far, and now you're in the season, so now there's no excuses on any part, but. You're in it now, so it's really good to be back, and it's a lot of fun.
Well, you bring up a very good point, and Chico likes to kid when we say, well, players come into shape, and back in the day, players had to work their way into shape, but he mentions the money. You guys deserve every nickel you get. My point is, you can have a team. If a player held out 25 years ago, he might have skated at his local rink with a couple of junior players and tried to work and had some help. But you've got a full team, nutritionists, physical therapists. You got power skating instructors. You've got people who can help you, if not exactly match what's going on, because it's not competition like you would get, say, in a preseason game, but they can match a lot of what's being done. So you should be able to step in and kind of pick it up rather quickly, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think, different guys have different things, but for me, I got my dad, really lucky to have him, and one of our family friends, Matt Williams, who skate us, and they do a great job, and obviously have strength guys on the side, on the strength portion, but, got a small team, really trustworthy people, and, they got me in a great place, and mentally and physically to be ready to step in, and when I signed, and I'm really lucky to have that. But yeah, I mean, it's different for every guy, and I don't know. I feel like I'm just really lucky to have people that care about me around me. So,
well, Luke, parents for so many players are so influential. And I see Ellen, I see your dad there today, and so I'm looking and I'm wondering, they're so involved and they know the game inside out because they played. Do they ever talk about, will they talk to you a little bit about the game tonight, or is it just mom and dad, no tips after a game? Or I'm just curious. I love your mom, but I just wonder, how much she says after the game.
I don't know. I think it depends, but they do a pretty good job of mixing in a little good pointers, but also just hanging out and being my parents. So really lucky to have them, and really smart hockey people, and definitely study the game and watch really closely, and definitely tell you the truth too. So really lucky for all three of us to have a great support system with them, and then obviously my two brothers. So.
Well, you know what, Luke? I got to tell you, Jack, and, Quinn in Vancouver, my nephew's coaching him, you guys are truthful, right?
Yeah,
we can talk about all the other, but look at it, if you want to know the truth, go to the Hughes brothers. Has it always been that way? Because you're always in the spotlight.
I would say so for each other. I think, they're not helping. We're not helping each other if we're lying to them and telling them something you want to hear. So, I think when you have so many people that care about you, that know the game and know the game is their profession, and 2 stars in the league, I think it's very helpful. Me just watching them and picking up on things and talking to them, and then them watching my game and telling me things that I need to do or need to change. And obviously, really good training group in the summer with Quinn and Zach Wierenski and Jake Sanderson. We all make each other better, and watching those guys and learning, a thing here, a thing there, and, just trying to grow your game.
And I'm just joking, but you might want to say to Jack, when I give you that pass, go up under the bar. He makes a great shot, but that was one of the most brilliant saves I've seen all year.
Yeah, I didn't see the replay, but
oh yeah.
That would have been nice, but it is what it is, and we're on to the next game, and glad our team got the win. I think we played really well tonight, and it's 4 games, so I think we're really happy with the outcome of these 4 games. We just got to keep going game by game and growing as a team.
And that'll be Saturday against Edmonton. Luke, thanks very much for your
thanks,
time.
Fellas.
Thank you, Luke.
Luke Hughes joining us after tonight's game. Let's check in with the head coach.
You're going to give a little bit more. You're going to give a little bit more than your opponent in any particular spot. So that's what that is, is just taking in a little bit more. It would be very easy to just stay on your feet and kind of, this one's didn't go my way. We'll get the next one, but instead you dig in and, you give us another opportunity at a puck. So, yeah, it is efforts like that as a coach and as a team, you want to celebrate and embrace.
One of the things that Jake was saying was after the 2 goals in the third period, scoring those 2 goals, he felt that as a group, everyone collectively played a really mature game, not, taking any extra chances. What did you see? And again, how big is that type of response?
Yeah, I thought it was great. I thought we were content at 2-1. We built our league. We're content to win the game at 2-1, but didn't play on our heels and just let the wait for the clock to run out. We kept playing, which is what you want, but do it with intent and purpose and intelligence, all those kind of things. So, yeah, I liked it. You're you're playing a team here that's been on a road trip and then on a back-to-back, and don't give them a reason for some life. And obviously the goal at the end, to take the 3-2 goal off the board, that call going our way works out. But I thought we did a really nice job to that point of really not giving them much of anything.
Similar question, but kind of bigger picture. Jack kind of mentioned that he's seeing signs of maturity with this team. Have you seen that? I think for years they were just kind of viewed as just this young core. Are you seeing these signs of maturity?
We're seeing signs of it. Yeah, we're not there yet, but we're seeing signs of it. We're growing, and Jack is, he's a leader of it, of the growth, and we're seeing signs of it with him, and then I think it kind of trickles down from there. Obviously, adding more and more veterans, experienced players, that have been around the league and have played deep in the playoffs. All that kind of stuff helps it, and kind of rubbing shoulders with those guys every day helps the young guys grow. But yeah, I certainly think that's what we talk about every single day. That's what we talked about in day one of training camp. So that's really positive, and that's what you need to do. That's how you go from being a team that's all over the place and unsure what you're going to get day to day or season to season to just being a consistent, solid team like the one we played tonight, like the Carolina team we played, the Tampa team that we played. Like those teams show up every day kind of knowing who they are and even if it doesn't go their way on a particular night, they're confident to go out the next day. And then at the end of the season, they're in the playoffs and they're competing. That's what you want to be as a team. That's what you want to be as a player. So, it's a work in progress, but we're definitely taking steps.
This being your second year here, how did this home opener feel different coming in than last year? Like knowing what to expect from the fans and all that.
Didn't play the Leafs, so that's a start. But yeah, it feels more natural, more at home, without question. Just feels like it's just one less thing. Like everything now feels like we're actually in it doing the work. For me, and not just me, but our coaching staff. It's a second year working with Jeremy Colleton. It's a second year working with Sergei Brylin, Dave Rogalski. Like all these guys. Brad Shaw's come in, I know, but he's been around. He got so much experience in the league. Like it just feels that much more comfortable. And then I would say the players with me and me with the players, that we can just actually do the work. We've got, instead of coming in and starting, in essence, from scratch last year and come back from Prague and we're playing our home opener here. And for me personally, like I was referring to, it was playing against Toronto, so that in itself was strange. But it just all feels like business now. And, I've enjoyed it. Crowd was great tonight. It's good to be back here.
Coach, you mentioned maybe you're not all the way there yet in terms of maturity. Is part of that maybe the amount of penalties you've been taking? I mean, the penalty kill's been superb, but have you been taking a lot of penalties, you think? Yeah. I don't like today is kind of a funny day. Like this is one of those ones where there's some calls early in the game that kind of set the standard, and then now they got to kind of maintain it. I think there's a lot of stuff called today that probably doesn't get called on Saturday. Like just the way it goes. But if I look at our road trip, we had some penalties there. We had some high sticks. We had some slashes where we're breaking sticks in half. Like little things like that. We had a 2-minute man on the ice. So those kind of things. That's part of it, but there's just a lot of other areas in terms of consistency in our play, and I look at how we started the game tonight. I mean, the number one focus of the game tonight for us defensively was to protect our net and stop at the net, and the first goal against is exactly the opposite of everything that was talked about and shown. So that's not mature. So that has to get fixed, and that has to be consistent and solid at every time we protect that space. So that's just a little example, but then you see how we handled the rest of the game, aside from the penalties. I thought showed a fairly mature and disciplined, committed group. And when we took the penalties, penalty kill just went out and did an unbelievable job. So it's right there for us. We just we keep with it, and they're gonna keep hearing it from myself and our coaching staff until we get it right.
I know last year it was a challenge to get Timo and Jack to gel on the same power play unit. Do you feel like you kind of cracked the code there?
Well, it's early. I think the first thing when you say crack the code, I think one of the first things last year when we had him there, we had Timo down at the net, and that didn't go well. I think Timo on the flank and being more involved that way can help us. Now it's a balance, right? Because Jesper Bratt is so good in that spot as well. So we've got more rotations and more freedom for guys to move about. So how they can manage that is what we'll be watching closely. And a night like tonight with 5 left-handers, not ideal. But I thought, as you saw with how they moved the puck and the quality of scoring chances that we had, it worked well here today. As we've talked about, though, we've really looked at it and kind of studied it. Jeremy's done a lot of work in this area of looking at different styles of penalty kills and how we can attack them. And we think we have more than 5 options for one power play unit to be a lethal unit, and it's on us as coaches to manage the personnel, move them in and out appropriately to try to match the skill sets with what we think might work with how teams are killing. Because we're at a place in the NHL now where there are some stark differences from how you see teams killing around the league, and as a result, you've got to practice a little bit differently. You got to plan a little bit differently if you want to be consistent and find success, rather than just throwing the same guys over and trying to make it work. We think because of the skill sets we have and the depth that we have, we can try some different things and give teams different looks.
Thank you, Sheldon.
Yeah, thanks.
Sheldon Keefe concluding the post-game news conference. Couple of things that I took out of that: continued growth, maturity, likes what the team has done out of the gate, and there'll always be room for improvement, and that's what we hope to see. This is, in the end, Luke Hughes said, it's game 4.
Well, when you have a team that has some skill, Matt, and experience, you better hope they grow. That defense is very experienced. Even like Nico scores a goal. It's his 9th year. Bratt's 9th year. Jack Hughes, it's his 7th year. These guys, they're ready to roll and rumble, and they want to make some noise this year. And I think they're going to do it, Matty. I can just see it growing. Not so much because they talked about it, like a young group growing. I think they are just tired of being average. I think they really want to be special. And I think that's what's going to happen this year.
They have that chance. We'll have a couple more highlights here. Then we'll hear from Jack Hughes. And this next goal, we left it off with the Devils tied at 1 following Jack Hughes' power play goal at 5:48 of the second. It was 1-1 after 2. Actually, we left it off with Jack being robbed by Daniel
Yes.
Tarasov near the end of the second period. It was 1-1 going into the third when we have what we will call the play of the game, brought to you by Prudential, the Devils' official financial services partner. Now it's on to Nemitz. Lays it off nicely for Hischier. Down toward Meyer. It goes off a stick and off the glass. Mercer to Dillon. Cross ice to Nemitz. Right point wrister. Tip save in. No! It goes in! It deflects in. Timo Meyer with the go-ahead goal. As the puck was tipped down, it bounces through the legs of Forsling. It bounces as Tarasov tries to squeeze it. It goes off of him. Most importantly, it goes into the back of the net for Timo Meyer's game-winning goal, the play of the game.
Well, that is the most important, but you got to look at it all, Matty. So Timo Meyer's in front. Forsling pushes him. He's okay if you're pushing me. I'll go outside the realm of the net. That puck was going maybe 10 feet wide, certainly 8. But he said, okay, you're going to push me. I'll go over there because maybe I'll get a tip. And he tips it back through the goaltender, through the defenseman. But, Matty, if you're Tarasov, you're thinking, oh, this shot's going to go wide. No, unfortunately, it's not going to go wide. It's going to go through you into the back of the net, and that's what happened.
Third goal of the season for Meyer at 6:23. Shimon Nemitz and Brendan Dillon with the assist. It stayed that way until Dawson Mercer kept the play alive, and it was 3-1. Battling with the big defenseman. Puck free. Tapped around by Mercer. He races after it. Works it to the blue line. Dillon's drive goes well wide. Rodriguez tries to clear. Devils deflected. Hischier tries to settle. Mercer gets it to Hischier. Shot. They score! Dawson Mercer, prone on the ice, pokes it to the captain. It's 3-1. just a terrific play of determination and effort on the part of Dawson Mercer, concluded by Heischer. So Heischer with the second goal of the season. Mercer continues his strong start of the season. 3-1 was the score. The Devils apparently allowed a goal to make it 3-2 late, but it was ruled to be incidental contact on the goalie. It was waved off, and that's it. 3-1 final score.
Well, Dawson Mercer has been moved to the wing. He's a natural centerman. But is he complaining? Is he pouting? No, because he's going to be with Myers and Heischer. So it's still, he's in the top two. And you know what? I haven't noticed like anything defensively, like a centerman, he doesn't know where to go. He's a centerman, he's a winger, he's getting lost. No, he has done everything well, especially, Matty. I mean, the poke on his belly for the goal by Heischer was brilliant, but his penalty killing, it's been outstanding. So Nico Heischer, again, we always talk about young players. When do they make that jump? He's been a really good, consistent player, but if you want to go to the promised land, you want to go to the cup, you got to have players rising above, making a jump up to something even higher, and he seems to be doing that this year.
3 minutes and 43 seconds of penalty killing time tonight for Dawson Mercer. The Devils were a perfect 5 for 5 on the penalty kill. Jack Hughes with the goal. Here's what he had to say to the media.
Jack, great way for you guys to come in for a home opener. You've been on the road for a while, but, a good job. Sorry. That's all right.
Great job, Bass. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that was a good first home win for us. We wanted to come out here and play well in front of our fans, so I think that was a good start for us, and obviously good to get another win, and we're glad Jaker played great, and we're happy to get a win for him.
For you, in those moments where you have a goal like that, what are you specifically looking for at that point? Because it's such a small margin of error there, or could be. I should say.
It's hard. I mean, if you watch that power play alone, I'm probably in that same spot with the puck, 3 times. I think in that one power play alone. So kind of just going through my reads. Even in the first, we had a lot of opportunities. So good movement by our group. I think Luke missed a one-timer there. So that kind of opens it up for me. And then, just can't do that shot all the time just because, the goalies probably have a read on me that I like shooting there. But sometimes when I see it, I can definitely pick that spot.
What about the special teams these last 3 wins?
Yeah, penalty kill was great again tonight against a really good power play. So they got a lot of skilled guys, and our PK did a great job of making it hard for them to get in, and then breaking up plays and clearing the zone.
Jack, what did you like about going down a goal, but your ability to not deflate and just keep the pedal on the metal there?
Yeah, I think this is we're an older group. Every year we're getting older, and I think that even though we give up the first one early, we want to bring our game and keep the crowd into it, and just find our way, work our way. And it's a 60-minute hockey game, so the good teams find a way to break teams down over the course of a game, and we want to be one of those teams.
Speaking of the crowd, they're pretty vocal tonight. Could you feed off their energy?
Yeah, I think that our crowd can get definitely rowdy and mouthy towards the refs. So that's what we love. When it's a tough building to play in and there's a lot of juice in here and a lot of energy, that's when it's the most fun for the players to play, and it probably brings the best out of our group.
How about goaltending tonight, the way he gave you a chance?
Yeah, like I said, he played great in Columbus too, so it would have been nice for him to finish that one off, but we're glad he played great tonight and he could get the win.
And I think we'll see Jake Allen on Saturday against Edmonton.
I'm so proud of him. Matty, people think, he's the backup, okay? But now he's put in a role of being, the starter. It's not like, he thinks of himself as a starter. He's got pride. He has worked so hard during the summer, he told me. He did some things differently. He's been terrific in training camp. He was terrific for 2 periods at Columbus. He was terrific tonight. Let's not talk about him as being a backup and there's some sort of worrisome glitch that's going to happen to him. No, this guy is not just a backup that you can't trust. He is all in, and he showed it tonight.
Over 200 career victories, coming up on 500 NHL games.
Thank you. Thank you, Maddie. That says it all right there.
Jake Allen has been around, and he certainly will be in goal on Saturday when the Devils take on the Edmonton Oilers, a game you will see here on the Devils Hockey Network.